Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Astrology News Report, presented by yours truly, Ron Berger. Today is February 2nd, 2020. In this segment, we'll take a look at what's happening in the zodiac for February 2020. But before we begin, a note to all viewers. I do enjoy sharing my knowledge of Vedic astrology, but it does take a lot of my time to produce these videos each week, and I do live in the real world. Therefore, this channel has moved to a paid subscription model. If you would like to have access to this month's weekly reports, stick around for the link at the end of this video to make your donation. Thanks. Okay, first up for our preview of the month. Venus changes signs today, Sunday, February 2nd. Venus leaves sidereal Aquarius and enters sidereal Pisces. Venus is considered exalted in the sign Pisces, so this should be good. It's the planet of romance, harmony, guidance, agreement, values, in the sign of hope and faith, sympathy and compassion, and emotional support. If there's a downside, it's that Venus is the planet of pleasures, and Pisces can be a bit extravagant. Venus is also the planet of entertainment. Pisces is sentimental, so good for watching tearjerker movies. Oh yeah, and the Academy Awards will be happening next week while Venus is in Pisces. During its transit through Pisces, Venus will not be under any direct malefic influence, or under any influence for that matter, but midway through the sign, Venus will transit through the midpoint of the Rahu-Ketu axis. This particular spot is known to cause stress for any planet's significations. It lasts for a few days, from February 12th until the 14th. Uh-oh, that's Valentine's Day. Venus in Pisces will continue until the very end of February. On February 28th, Venus leaves Pisces, whereupon it will begin its transit in Aries. Another planet is changing signs in early February, Mars. On February 7th, Mars will leave sidereal Scorpio and enter sidereal Sagittarius. Mars is action. Sagittarius is independence. So, this combination signifies independent action. Mars is impatient. Sagittarius is passionate. Mars in this sign can get pretty heated. This is also the planet of force and aggression in the willful fire sign of personal belief, personal truth, which will certainly fire up everyone's self-righteous ideologies for the next 6 weeks. Note, too, that while in Sagittarius, Mars will be combining with Jupiter and Ketu, already transiting in this sign. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and Jupiter and Mars are considered friends in Vedic astrology. They encourage each other. So, we get Mars, the planet of action, boosted by Jupiter, the planet of optimism. Jupiter's beliefs will combine with Mars, the planet of aggression and combat, and Sagittarius is the self-righteous sign of personal truth, so this could be dangerous. It's also Mars, the planet of conflict and controversy, with Jupiter, the planet of justice and law. Therefore, we can expect some controversial actions involving laws and the courts. And then we also have Mars combining with Ketu. The south node of the moon, one of the eclipse points called Ketu in Vedic astrology, is the connector to past karma. When the planet of action, Mars, hooks up with the significator of past karma, we get to reap the harvest from past actions. Of course, that may not necessarily be a good thing. In fact, Ketu has a reputation for causing some kind of sacrifice, even dissolution. In any case, since it represents the unseen dimension, Ketu acts mysteriously, So its combination with Mars, planet of action and force, has the potential for producing inexplicable, bizarre actions, along with unintended consequences, which may include some not-so-nice events. The exact conjunction of Mars and Ketu will be on February 25th. A few days before that, Mars will transit through the December 26th solar eclipse degree. A planet transiting through a previous eclipse degree can set off events. Events associated with an eclipse are usually not good. So, the last week of February does look a bit problematic. Note that the planetary combination in Sagittarius is happening in the USA chart's first house, from where it will be opposing the 7th house and all of the USA 7th house planets. The 7th house of a country's chart indicates partner countries, but also the direct opponent country. There's a high potential for this three-planet combination to result in some aggressive Mars-type action by the United States against a foreign entity, based on Sagittarian beliefs and fueled by Jupiterian optimism, and yet with Ketu here as well, resulting in a loss. Mars will stay in Sagittarius for 6 weeks, until March 22nd, when it will proceed into Capricorn. And when that happens, we get a Mars-Pluto-Saturn conjunction. I'll have more to say about that when we get to March. Probably the most important zodiacal event for February happens in the middle of the month. Mercury goes retrograde. This will be the first Mercury retrograde period of 2020. Mercury appears to go backwards in the zodiac 3 times a year for about 3 weeks each time. The effects of Mercury retrograde are fairly well known, even amongst the general public. Communications get delayed, people behave irrationally, information is incorrect, transactions are more prone to mistakes, and so forth and so on. Back at the end of January, Mercury entered Aquarius. This is the planet of communications, rational thinking, ideas and reasons, and making decisions in the sign of social idealism, the humanitarian, and progressive reform. Mercury in Aquarius is the planet of messaging, in the sign of the revolutionary, which should be good for all the social revolution types getting the word out. This Mercury retrograde period starts on February 16th at 18 degrees Aquarius. Note that at this point, Mercury will be less than 5 degrees away from Neptune, the planet of fantasy and delusion. So, this Mercury retrograde period will start out with more than the usual component of confusion. Another thing, a week into the Mercury retrograde period, there will be a new moon on February 23rd, which will be at 10 degrees Aquarius and only 5 degrees from retrograde Mercury. Anything connected to a new moon will be effective for the whole lunar month, so this will tend to drag out the effects of Mercury retrograde past its usual 3 weeks long term. The Mercury retrograde period will continue into March, ending on March 9th. Mercury is the planet of communication, the media, the message. Mercury is the planet of making choices. Therefore, it's the planet of voting. Mercury retrograde will still be in effect on March 3rd, Super Tuesday, when many of the states will be having their primaries for choosing the Democratic Party nominee. The planet of choosing the nominee will be held back in the zodiac. Sounds like Super Tuesday won't produce a clear winner. At the end of February, we have yet another planet changing signs, and in this case, it's something special. Pluto is moving into a new sign, Capricorn. Why is this special? Because it is so far from the Earth, Pluto spends a long time in a sign, like 20 years, so it doesn't change signs too often. So this is something of a big deal in the astrology community. Of course, here I am speaking of the sidereal zodiac astrologers. The Western astrologers have had Pluto in Capricorn for some years already. Anyway, Pluto in Capricorn puts the planet of destruction and obliteration, mass events, generational change, transformation, rebirth, and regeneration in the practical earth sign of realistic goals, responsible use of resources, management, and so forth. Pluto was only discovered in 1930, so there hasn't been enough time to see just what its effects will be in each sign. So all astrologers get the opportunity to do some research in real time on this one. Okay, there's a brief look at what planetary events are happening in February 2020, and now a reminder. You have been watching Astrology News Reports once a month free public video. If you would like to see the next 4 weekly reports, donate $20 by clicking on or touching the donation card you see at the end of this video, which will take you to the donation page. If $20 for a month is too much for you, you can donate $10. The link to each week's report will be sent to you via your email. Here's a description of what's coming up for this month's videos. February 9th, analysis of Mars with Jupiter in Sagittarius and effects for each sign. February 16th, analysis of Mercury Retrograde, February 16th to March 9th, and the effects for each sign. February 23rd, astrology predictions for politics and world events, spring of 2020. March 1st, a preview of planetary patterns for March of 2020. You'll not want to miss out on all these great upcoming videos, so here's the link for your donation. Just click or touch the card, which will take you to the donation page. Thank you, and until next week.